All right, so we are here with our friend Bill Hunsberger from our local pickleball community, multi-time gold medalist nationally in your age bracket.
All right.
And you're 89 years old and still traveling around the entire country competing.
True.
So thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited.
The good news about turning 89 is next year I'll be playing 90. All right? You play your age that year, right?
That's right.
So the bad news is I'm going to have trouble finding a lot of people to play against. That's the bad news. So it's more like just to go and have fun, and enjoy. I had to tell you, you probably see this, and not that I'm not the only guy, but when somebody gets to be 75 or 80, everybody oohs and ahs about, oh my God, you're so fantastic, you're wonderful, you're moving around. I mean, so after a while, you start to believe it.
That's why I don't compliment you.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
I don't want to. I'm trying to keep you in check.
You know what
here.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're really fantastic, Bill. Or you're just a great. It's okay, but people do that with everybody who's over a certain age. Man, I can't believe you can walk. Right? I saw you got up. You were really good. I'm telling you. All right.
You said you're undefeated. You and
Undefeated
your
in our age
partner.
bracket. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So where have you and your partner traveled to, and how did you guys start playing together?
Okay. Well, we met in Chambersburg at the state senior games in 2016, and I call him Poe. His name is Potham Verghese. He's Indian. I always have trouble pronouncing his name, but I call him Poe because Potham, by the time I would say Potham, the ball would be gone. So I call him Poe. And he said, that's fine. But so I was playing mixed doubles with a person from Hagerstown. And we played hard. We did not medal, but it was very hot. It was July, and it was, I got dehydrated. That's what really happened. So Poe, he wasn't playing mixed doubles. He was sitting over the sideline. He was watching us play, and he was going to play singles. Now, he was a year younger, so I was playing in the 75, 79 bracket. As it turned out to be, because I was in the 80, 84, we each got a medal. That's how that worked. But we played because, so we played the best of three, and I hit the court. I was really hot. I mean, I had 8-0. I figured this is going to be a walk in the park. And all of a sudden, it hit me. I hit that wall. I never did before. I could hardly move. He beat me 11-9, and then the next game he beat me like 11-4. After I got done crying, we sat down and talked. It was pathetic, you know what I mean?
Did you have any tears left, or were you
No,
completely
I was
dehydrated?
sweating. I was beat. I have never had that happen before, but I did. So we sat and talked, and we decided that maybe we should play together, doubles. So the next year we qualified, and then our first tournament together was in Birmingham, Alabama, and we were in the 80-84 bracket, and he had gotten a year older, and there were 13 teams the first year. 13 teams, and we got the gold. We were undefeated, and then 2 years later we played in Albuquerque, and there were 15 teams. And we were undefeated there. We might have lost 2 games, but we didn't lose any matches. Okay. And then the next year was COVID in 21. You had the national senior games every other year. The year in between you qualify. So it should have been 21, but because of COVID, they canceled to 22, and that was in Fort Lauderdale. In Fort Lauderdale, there were only about, I think, 7 teams in our bracket, but we cleared that one. So we got the gold there. The following year, then, it came within 1 year because of COVID. So we played in Pittsburgh, and that was sort of screwed up. Poe he's a 4.0, and I was like a 3.9. For some reason, they don't want me to be a 4. I don't know what that is, but I don't really care. But so we had to play in a 4.0, and there were no other 4.0s in the 85 and up. So they put us playing with people like in 75 and up, 4.0. So it was a step up. Now, we did not go undefeated there. We played hard, but we didn't get a goal there. But we didn't care because that was really out of our bracket. You know? So this year we qualified at Maryland for the state senior games, and so next year we're going to go to Des Moines, Iowa, and trying to get our what we call the Pentagon, 5th in a row.
Your 5th gold medal in a row nationally.
Yeah, and so I got that one goal with my partner Betty de la Cruz, in last year at Pittsburgh, and that was we had 5 teams, and that was 85, 89. She's a good player. She wants to play with her husband, and I told her that if she wants to play with him, she should. And he doesn't play a lot, and he had some problem. I said, just play with him. It's too late. And I said, I really want to play with you. I'd like to defend our title, but you just do that. She said, yeah, and if he can't play. So she helped me qualify, and I helped her qualify. So we'll, I may not play mixed doubles. You know, it's okay. But we'll see. So I'll be her backup if she, you know, you need a good backup in case.
Oh, you need a
know.
good roster. You gotta have a good roster.
So, yeah, a lot of fun. We've gotten to be really good friends with these people, you know, and you look forward to the tournament just for that.
Right.
You know?
The off-court social aspect.
But I don't see them in between. See, one lives in Arlington and the other guy lives in Indiana, Pennsylvania. So that's what's interesting. We only see each other at tournaments, and yet we kind of click. Mm-hmm. Poe is he's got a good serve, and he's probably better at placement than I am. I know. He moves okay. He doesn't move as good as I do, but he's pretty good. You know what I mean? We complement each other, I think. And he didn't put up with any nonsense. Like, he's not like me. He didn't joke much, you know. But yeah, he's good. And you know, the other thing is you learn that you're people and you have problems too. And I know his wife's been dealing with some problems, and same way with Betty's husband. I mean, so we all have problems. It's just a matter of what you can do with what you have, right? I mean, everybody has problems. You know, that's life is that way, right?
Yeah.
So you're able to bond through the pickleball camaraderie and then help each other through your non-pickleball issues.
We talk on the phone about, like, his wife has a reoccurring thing, and he actually called me on his own and said, you know, she's going to have some surgery and so on. And so, yeah, so we have a good thing going there. And that's in recreational play. That's recreational play, but that's tournament. But in recreational play, everyday play, it's the same way. I'm sure, you know, you people that you bump into around, you know, and you learn that they're maybe having this problem or that problem, and it's good to talk about it, you know.
You find out everybody's got them, and it's just how good you hide them.
I mean, I was a clinical social worker on the field. I did it for 38 years, right? And I think that pickleball is as good as any kind of psychotherapy you're going to get. You know, if you let yourself immerse yourself in it, right?
And how so? Well,
because it's in between. Usually you're playing and you sit out maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe 15 at the most usually. And so you're sitting with people. Some of them you know, some you didn't. So, you know, what are we going to do? So John, what brought you to pickleball? Or what do you do for a living? Or, you know what I mean? So we start talking, and next thing you know, we're talking about, you know, I got to go see the doctor for this or that, right?
Right.
And it feels good. And then I find out, well, you know, he's got problems just like me, right? And he understands, and it's a different, but he understands. So pickleball is very therapeutic. Like I mentioned to you earlier, that I think that pickleball is so therapeutic that an insurance company should have to pay for you to play, because it would, you know?
I think that is an amazing concept.
Yeah.
I know for both of us in our experience, and you mentioned as well, like pickleball saved your life, and other friends of ours have had the same comment.
Right.
That social aspect definitely helps bring people out of isolation and helps people realize that they're not alone, and the people in their pickleball community genuinely care about them, not just on the court, but off the court.
They do, and they get together. Well, you have this. I get invited to go, like, we want to go to lunch with the guys. I mean, these guys are like they're just hitting puberty. Do you know what I mean? But you know, they're willing to include other people in their group, and then you get some other. I have things there I wouldn't have ordinarily, other people, you know. So it's good in that respect.
And then the physical aspect too, for just like your mental well-being, right? I mean, just getting out and being active for everybody. The endorphin high.
That high
you know.
you get after pickleball.
Well, you know, both of you you're in good shape, and partly because you're in good shape because you want to do better at pickleball, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's
Right?
100%
Exactly.
reason.
So that's what keeps you going. It gives you, if you don't have a reason to get up in the morning, you know, you're just going to lay there and rot, right? So you know what you're doing, and it's somebody I've probably saved several people's lives by they talk about I'm just going to quit. I say if you want to quit, you can, but that means you're going to probably die a lot sooner, and you're going to be unhappy.
You're quitting more than pickleball.
Yeah, you're quitting. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
They're quitting life. That's what they're doing. Yeah, and so yeah, pickleball is it's the greatest thing. It's an epidemic. It's the greatest epidemic ever to hit America.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
it might even help us deal with the political differences. It could.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Possibly.
It brings
think every difference.
so many
It's
different types
such a
of people
bridge.
together.
Yeah.
You mentioned that just the group that you travel with to tournaments around the country are from different cultures, different nationalities, and you come together as genuine friends.
I would never have done that. I mean, I wouldn't have gone out and said I need to play with an Indian or I need to play with somebody. You know, I mean, it just happened, and I thought, you know, that's really neat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
You realize how much more you have in common than how
Oh,
many
yeah.
differences you have.
Oh yeah. It's great. It's like I learn a lot about other cultures, you know, from talking with these people. And things I never even knew of. I mean, I haven't traveled the world, but I was stationed in Germany when I was in the army, and traveled all through Europe, and so I know a little bit about people in other countries, but I didn't know much about Japan. I didn't know much about India or the Philippines, you know. But so I'm learning a lot. Betty's husband, Jerry, his family moved here from the Philippines, and he I think he went to Air Force Academy, and he was a fighter pilot in Vietnam. Very interesting guy, you know. I mean, flew all kinds of different jets, and so hey, it's just a bunch of nice people that you meet, you know.
When you find out too how many interesting people there are, right? Because everybody thinks that their story doesn't matter because it's their story.
Yeah.
And then when you get to talk to people, I mean, there's some people, even just locally, that have done some amazing stuff that you would never know if you weren't out on the court hitting the ball with them.
You're probably learning this as you talk with people, aren't you? You learn the things about people that you were
Absolutely.
unaware of.
You learn stuff that you would never have. I mean, pickleball, the fact that we're doing a podcast now for pickleball. I mean, if it wasn't for pickleball, we wouldn't be sitting here recording.
Right.
And then you get to talk to all these individuals who open up about their life story and about just what pickleball did for them, what their background is, some of the accomplishments from these individuals, and they're the most humble people. You would never know it. You would never know it. So it's really cool to be able to talk to them about that.
Well, you didn't met me, but that's a problem with me.
Well, we needed a filler episode, and so we went through.
I knew
we were scrolling through, and I mean, it was like last on the list. I was like, okay.
I figured that out. I knew that.
We'll take a national gold medalist.
Yeah, I guess that'll be okay.
We'll go down to that level.
Yeah, we were like, he's only going for the Pentagon.
Yeah.
So like we really wanted like 10 gold medals nationally.
Yeah.
But,
so let me tell you that. So I have some other people who are like 80 and up, and there's 3 or 4 people who they want me to play in more, they call it more prestigious things, you know, the ones in Texas and there. But to do it, I mean, we could do it. I think we could take the gold. But I need to go to Seattle to qualify, and then I get, I don't want to do that. It's not worth that to me. You know what I mean? And I can understand it's a little more prestige than the National Senior Games to get a gold that's, Indian Wells, for example, but now it's down in Texas or something. And so I have to, there's a few things in my life that I can't achieve, like playing center for the basketball team is out. But I mean, you know, my sister was she was the first female inducted into the Gettysburg Hall of Honor College, Gettysburg College of Honor. She was a star hockey player and basketball. So she was a good athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
And then what were your main sports growing up?
Main sport in, like I said, riding horses, jumping. But then in junior high school, we had a small town. In junior high school, we didn't have enough for a full team in junior high, so we played 6-man football. So the coach said, I was pretty athletically inclined, but I was still small then. You know, I didn't shrink since then. You know,
You weren't 6 foot back then.
No, I was not
Okay,
6 foot. I used to tell people, you know, I used to be 6'2". No. So the coach, he said, Bill, you're going to be our quarterback. You ever know what 6-man football is? You ever play it?
I've never played it.
It's
no.
it's popular some places. 3 on the line, 3 in the backfield, and you have the quarterback, 2 halfbacks, a center, and 2 ends. So the coach said, his name was Hackman. He said, Bill, do you understand the game? I said, yeah, I think I do. He said, well, I just want to make sure. You, as a quarterback, the rule is you can pass it or lateral it, but you're not allowed to run it. I said, that's not going to be a problem. It's a very fast game, a 15-yard for a first down. But then, and when it came to the varsity, I'm just too small. I didn't want to get the hell beat out of me, you know.
Right.
But then what did I get into then? I don't know. Little tennis, more like dating. Was
That was your sport of choice.
That was my sport of choice. Then I guess in college I played a little tennis and did some running and some intramural wrestling. That's a hard sport, wrestling. I don't know if you've ever done it, but
Never was a wrestler.
there's 3-minute mile rounds in like top wrestling, but in college it was like, it was 3 minutes, but intramural it was 2 minutes.
Okay.
I thought, hell, I can do 2 minutes. 3 2-minute rounds. Oh my God, you are stressed the whole time when you're wrestling. That is one heck of a good sport. I like individual sports because
Right.
a lot of times it's your age, weight, or whatever, right? So you don't have to do it with somebody like wrestle with some guy who's like 290 pounds, right?
Right.
And so that's fair. You know.
Well, then the mental game's on you.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to. I mean, it's strictly you. That's.
Yeah.
I mean, I've told Sarah before that with pickleball, this is the first sport that I've really played where it's more of a team environment, playing doubles.
Yes.
Because running, cycling, snowboarding, skateboarding, any sport that I played, it was just me. Like it was me against me, and I love that because then
Yeah. Well, that's what skiing is,
Yeah.
unless you're competing in the downhill or something. But there's sports that you can excel in just because it's you.
Mm-hmm.
And even doubles in pickleball it's more than you. You know?
Oh, it's definitely a team.
Yeah, it's a team sport.
Yeah, you have to sync. I mean, you have to be in sync with each other. There has to be some sort of chemistry with each other, or you're not gonna.
And I'll mention this before everybody else will mention it, but I have a problem with poaching.
Do you?
My poaching. I mean, I tend to go after them, and that irritates my partner sometimes. You don't want somebody always coming in on your shot.
But it can be an effective strategy as long as the two partners agree that is their best strategy as a team.
Because because sometimes they'll start picking on your partner too. Mm-hmm. And if you poach a couple times, they figure that ain't going to work.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of our strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, John
all the time,
poaches.
yeah.
It's an important part of our strategy.
You have to poach to save him? Is that what you do?
Yeah. She carries me like 99% of the
No,
time.
I know. I can see you
Yeah.
moving. Yeah.
No, I mean, I always tell people too that I say that you'll hear poaching thrown out there. I said, and a lot of times when people say poaching, it has a negative connotation to it. I said, I don't think it does. I mean, it's part of the game. If you can do it, I mean, if it's
Absolutely.
a shot, then you are on the offense. I mean, you push that ball. You really start to screw with the other team. So
if you can do 75% success rate,
right,
you should do it.
Right. As
But
long as it's a high percentage, you're good.
Yeah,
go for it.
That's right. And people love you for that. But if you start missing a lot,
you put them all into the net, people are gonna get a little.
Yeah. But no, but poaching, that's what I love about playing singles in the Nickham tournament. I tell the guy, you know what? I poached every shot.
And your
Right?
partner didn't care.
I said I had to. You know who's going to hit the next ball. It's you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had just passed your 89th birthday and then played singles in an age bracket below yours in the tournament.
Well, yeah, there weren't many in the bracket. There were but it was, it was a 50 and up. I don't know. I didn't realize what I was getting into. There was a bracket, a higher skill bracket above us, so I wasn't in the highest skill because I don't have a good rating in singles. I don't win that much, in the tournament, big tournaments. So, yeah, it was a 50 and up. But this guy one guy was 50 in it. I don't know who he was. And there were two guys, like about 71 or 2 in it. And so right before the tournament, the guy who was 50 dropped out. I guess he found out how old I was and he couldn't handle it. I don't know what it was, but so now there were just 3 of us in the tournament. And but it was fun. I mean, I have to say I enjoyed that. I was working more on placement than I ever do. It's a placement game.
Oh, it's absolutely a
Oh,
placement
yeah.
game.
And I was pretty, I felt really good about that. It was a fun tournament, and the guys I play, and they had a good time too. And okay, they get over it. But I mean,
And you pulled gold in that
I
tournament.
pulled gold in that one.
That's
yeah.
amazing. It's
Yeah.
such a good workout too, singles.
Oh yeah.
I mean, doubles is as well, but singles is
The guy
one of the
that
best
got
workouts.
silver, we each won a game to 15. And he won the first one 15-13, and I beat the second game. I think it was 15-10. And I only beat him because I scored a few more points than he did. That was very close. He's a good player and had fun.
Do you think you'll play singles again, or do you prefer doubles?
I don't know. I don't know. I do I'm qualified in the national senior games. I mean, I always try to get all 3, mixed and but I don't know if I'll have anybody to play in Des Moines. It might be more like solitaire.
Well, that's a gold medal.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't like that, but what are you gonna do? I mean, you have to play your age. I guess I could play down. Oh, they will play me down, as a matter of fact.
Because your bracket won't have
Because
enough
if
people?
I say there's only 2 of us, they won't go with just 2.
Okay.
So they'll put you guys down, but they'll medal according to your age. Okay.
Okay.
But you're going to have to take your beating with these guys, right? So I don't know. Yeah.
So you mentioned before to us that pickleball saved your life. I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't start playing pickleball till 2013. That's when it came to Hagerstown. I never heard of it before. It just so happened in that year I'd had 2 cataracts replaced in March. I had a knee replaced in June, and I started playing pickleball in that fall. But what I didn't realize until maybe 6 months later was that my wife was beginning to have some Alzheimer's. It was just starting to really develop. And so I was able to get people to come in and stay with her 4 hours a day for maybe 4 or 5 days a week. And that would allow me to go to the Y, or play pickleball, and do other things, right? Which was part of the life-saving thing, because it took her 7 years to totally, succumb to that. And when I would go away to tournaments, I'd have to have people come in and cover. Like one time, tournament in Albuquerque, I was away for 8 days, and but it worked out good, whenever I'd come back, and I would, she would greet me at the door, and I'd always give her my medal and put it on her. She would smile. I could show you photos of her smiling up at the medal, But so that was part of the thing that saved my life. But the big part probably was being with other people, being at rec play and in between games. You had a chance to talk with other people, and there were at least 2 other men at Leitersburg who had lost their wives in the not too distant past. And we would have what I would call a mini grief group, and only last 10 minutes, And for most guys, particularly guys who are a little macho out there trying to play pickleball, not that John would be macho or anything, but
No, no,
Not at all.
no.
But I was in the mental health field, a lot of time as a clinical social worker. So, but even that, I know that being in a grief group can be a good thing. But even knowing that, I was too maybe not manly enough to do it. But in pickleball, I could do it. It'd be just two of us or three of us, right? We would talk and you have a chance to ventilate, talk about it, get feedback with each other, and that's probably one of the therapeutic values of pickleball. That and that's even is more important really than the physical part in a way, because you can be in shape and do physical things without people, and that's not so good.
Right.
Right. You could be a long distance runner or a swimmer or something like that, but you'd be in good shape, but
Yeah, pickleball seems to break down that barrier and conversations just start to flow.
Right.
You're out there laughing and the barrier's broken, and then it can lead into a more personal and serious conversation.
You used to play a lot of tennis, didn't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
I played Division I college
Yeah,
tennis.
so I knew you were a good tennis
Just a
player.
little.
I was a singles player, and it was such a lonely sport. First of all, you're alone on your
Yeah,
side of the
yeah.
court. Second of all, a tennis match is so much longer than pickleball. So you don't have those changeovers. Like you mentioned, we'll be at Leitersburg and people
Yeah.
are sitting in the chairs waiting for their next game. And then the conversations begin. And of course it starts kind of lightly, like, oh, you played great. And then
Yeah.
it gets more personal, and then you might bring up issues like you're having at home.
Yeah, right. I give a good example of that was sometimes I'm down at Smith Mountain Lake in Virginia, and I go to the Y to play, and they have a gym, and they play indoors there. So I think it's 3 courts, and then they added on at the beginning 2 tennis courts. It's hooked on, but well, tennis was not that popular, so they put pickleball courts on the tennis courts, right? So I was down there playing, but you could still play tennis there if you wanted. You had to sign up. So I was in there playing. I was playing pickleball on this one court, and the next court over here, there were 2 people playing tennis, and I was sitting there just observing this. Over here, we have the screamers and the hollers, and they're yelling, and yeah, oh, over there we hear,
Oh my gosh, that is so
huh?
true.
Right?
That
It was
is
so
so
different,
true.
and I'm thinking, are they having fun? I mean, because over
Yeah.
here, everybody's having a ball,
Exactly.
right?
You don't see a pickleball court without hearing that
Oh, yeah.
laughter.
That right, yeah. You can't even hear the ball. It's so loud. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about this too. Like I love obviously playing pickleball, and I mean, hindsight being what it is, I wish I had played tennis in high school and college, but the culture around tennis is what kept me away from it. Like that's what, like I wanted to play.
uppity up.
Right, yeah. Like,
it's so stoic and
yeah, and like
formal.
now, and I watch a ton of tennis now. Like I love watching tennis, but I've showed her like how the culture has started to shift. But I always tell people that pickleball is like punk rock tennis, and it's the island of misfit toys. It's like
You got it right.
You really
Oh,
get
yeah.
this plethora of individuals.
Do you
from
know, I
different
still
backgrounds.
love watching top end tennis more than I do watching pickleball. To be honest with you, you know what I mean. It's just like Nadal and all those guys, and just watch how the game is evolving for them and all. But yeah, there's it's a big change from when you're playing tennis and when you play. Well, you can feel the change when you play pickleball. It's a whole different thing. You're up close and personal for one thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I have made such good friends through pickleball because, like we were saying, you get to know people so much more genuinely.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure that's a theme you get from other people that you talk to, don't you? Yeah, yeah.
The life-saving attributes of pickleball and the social. Like
Yeah,
that's
it's definitely
it
there.
doesn't matter how competitive they are, if they're just playing rec, if they are just involved in like tournament setups,
Yep.
or I mean, there's
Yep.
so many different aspects of pickleball, but you hear that all the time. That
Yeah.
it just reoccurs,
Yeah.
reoccurs.
Right. I tend to avoid. I call a tournament's not big unless you have 500 people and over. I call that. That's what I call. And the why I do that is because that way you have plenty of brackets, right? When you play a small tournament, even like the Hagerstown Y, it's so small. They can't have. It's like I think Denise and I played. I think it was 60 and over or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
And
much
that's a
larger,
big gap,
yeah.
you know. And so in a big tournament, you get a chance to really compete in your range, which makes sense. I mean,
Yeah, your specific bracket.
Yeah.
So what do you have planned to compete down the road?
What do I have planned to compete? Well, Des Moines, Iowa. I'm going out there.
Okay.
Uh,
When is that one?
that's in July next
Okay.
year.
And you're going with your
Yep.
with Poe.
And also Betty's going with her husband.
Okay.
And yep. I did play. I played 4 different tournaments this year. It's Maryland Senior Games to qualify. Nickham won, and then I played one up in Cranberry, up near Pittsburgh. And, it was a regional thing,
Okay.
and we got. But again, the brackets weren't big enough, you know. And then I played it. Some guy over in Pennsylvania there that I know, he wanted me to play over there at a tournament, which I did with him, and we got a goal. But again, it was like there weren't enough people in the bracket, and it was like a kind of a walkthrough. I mean, we played with other people, but it's more fun when you have a lot of people in that bracket. You know, when you win, you feel like you won something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't like what do they call it, a token award or a participation
Yeah,
thing. I
participation
hate that
trophy.
stuff.
Those are, yeah.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Nobody feels good with that.
No.
You just put those
Yeah.
in the trash.
It's
Yeah.
not exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. They're cheap medals too, usually.
Yeah, we like them heavy.
The senior games have nice medals.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. I should have brought some of them. What
Yeah,
I've
that'd
done,
be
I the first year I did it, I made a scrapbook. You know, I did the photos and all the brackets and everything in it, and I thought, well, that's good. So I didn't realize it. So the second year, oh shit, I gotta do that again, right? So now I have 4 albums for each year.
That's cool.
With them and with the photos of the people we played with and all that stuff, and it's kind of neat. So now I'm gonna have to buy another one for next year, I guess. But they're great memories. You know, you can pick it up and you say, oh yeah, so we did this and that. You know, and they give you can print out the brackets and what the scores were and everything. You know, and so you can look back and say, yeah, we got them on that one here.
So how far into your pickleball journey does it take for you to realize you want to start competing in tournaments?
Okay,
Was
that's
it
a
right
good
off the
point.
bat? Okay.
I started in 13, and then probably maybe I might have played I think I went to Cumberland for a tournament back in maybe 15.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I sort of got the bug to do it. Yeah. There weren't many, there weren't a lot of tournaments around here then.
Right.
Not like now.
It's mostly rec play.
You had to really drive back in the day for tournaments.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was Cumberland. It was a good tournament in Cumberland. There was Cumberland. I met some guy used to come. I think he was pretty good, and I didn't play with him, but he got me out there, and I played. I just was like potluck. I picked some people and played with them, and I don't know that we got anything or not, but I got the bug. Yeah, it's fun. You kind of want to try to find out, how am I? Where do I stand in this whole thing, right? And so. Now that I know, I don't have to do certain tournaments. Because I know I'm not in there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you had a background, your professional life was in mental health.
Yeah.
And you were talking to us about your contributions for youth and mental health through pickleball.
Well, that's something that just happened you mean talk about that pickleball court? Yeah. I worked at Brook Lane for 16 and a half years as a clinical social worker, and I was the director for the last 10. Then I went in private practice. 4 of us went out. And so I have about 38 years total, 2 years in the service in the Army. But so they had a tennis court there. I remember playing on when I worked there. But it became, nobody was using it for years, and I noticed it. I've been involved with them some, helping out different ways. And so a year ago, I said, you know what, guys, why don't you do something with that pickleball, or that court? Let's fix it up. And they said, well, yeah. So I really gave them the money to put 2 pickleball courts there.
And this is an inpatient facility?
It's a what?
Is it an inpatient?
Inpatient, outpatient, but this would be for the inpatients mainly. And staff can use it too. But they have like they have a day school there. Kids come there, and I don't know, they have maybe 50 some in that school, and they have a break during the day when they go out and do physical stuff, so they can go. And I gather that whereas it's sort of there's a stream runs through Brookline, and it's on the other side where they had a baseball field, and nothing goes on over there. But now with this pickleball over there, people tell me that it's really noisy over there. I said, well, yeah, so these kids they're participating with each other, which they probably weren't doing that much. So I just pickleball is unbelievable. Who would have, if you'd asked me, say 15 years ago about pickleball, I wouldn't know what to tell you about, But
Well, it's a dumb name.
Pardon?
It's a dumb name. I mean, it's hard.
Oh yeah, I thought
like,
that. That's why one reason I didn't really want to play much. I said, people say, "What are you doing these days?" I'm playing pickleball.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's not. It's not. It was a lot easier when I was like, I'm out running half marathons or cycling events.
People were impressed with that.
They're like, oh wow, yes. Like, oh, I'm going to go to the mountain snowboard.
Yeah.
Like it's
I
like,
got
oh,
that.
okay, that and then. But then in the spring, summer, and fall, it's like, oh, I play pickleball. And everyone's like, that's an old person sport. Why are you playing that? And I was like, no. Especially early on, because I started in like 2019. And it was always, why are you playing this?
Well,
like, why?
That's one thing they say, but they usually make some funny comment to you about. It's a guy like, I mean,
Right,
I mean, I don't have to say what they say, Yeah. No, you're right. I don't know why well, that's what they called it way back. And I gave a talk on, it was supposed to be an inspirational talk. I don't know if it was or not, but I talked about the beginning of pickleball and how it started and all that stuff. And, it really wasn't the dog. They weren't named after the dog. It was after pickleball paddle, rowing paddles and stuff. It was different than that. But anyhow, yeah, it's anything but that.
Right.
I mean, like there's paddleball. That makes sense.
Right.
That's a good thing. We all know what we know
Platform.
what tennis is. We know what volleyball is, right?
Right.
How did they get the pickle in here?
Right. All the good names were taken.
Yeah.
Like they
I
went
guess that's
they
it.
were like, okay, look.
But now it's pretty much accepted, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a big, popular sport. It has to be. It has no choice.
You hear it on the news all the time.
Yeah.
Now.
Right.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much for coming up and being on the podcast.
You're welcome.
And
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and thank you for everything you do in the local pickleball community, and for.
It's fun. It's good. I believe in it.